Now, FIFA could face legal action following the controversial decision to suspend Cristiano Ronaldo's ban and allow him to play in Portugal's first 2 World Cup games. In a brazen move that triggered widespread criticism, the governing body is taking the extraordinary step of suspending the final 2 games of a 3-match ban issued to the 40-year-old superstar after he was sent off for elbowing Ireland's Dara Oshie in a qualifier earlier this month. Ronaldo sat out Portugal's final World Cup qualifier, a 9-1 thrashing of Armenia, and is effectively now free to play for his country. However, those who are drawn to play against Portugal in the matches for which he should have been banned could make a claim at the Court of Arbitration for Sport in a bid to overturn the controversial suspension and uphold the original punishment. A panel will sit in Switzerland before delivering a verdict. Well, Neymar Jr. made a stunning return to action for Santos by impressing in his recent 3-0 win over Sport. Despite carrying a meniscus injury and being advised against playing any football in 2025, he decided to defy doctors' orders to make him available. However, Neymar showed 0 signs of rustiness in the match and actually opened the scoring for his side. He would go on to inspire Santos to a big win that helped them move up to 15th place in the Brazilian Serie A table, 4 points above the relegation zone. And after the game, Neymar spoke about his physical state despite the injury, saying he feels good physically. He further said the injury is sad and annoying, but it's not something that will stop him from playing for his club. Well, joining me now in the studio is Chima Umeugo, a sports analyst, a sports enthusiast, and area that. Thank you so much, Chima, for joining us on the show.
It's a pleasure.
Well, it's a lot to break down, but we'll begin with the ban on Cristiano Ronaldo. Well, this week, I think that was on Tuesday, we had FIFA come out to say that Ronaldo's ban was suspended, and they took into consideration the fact that in his over 220 games played in the FIFA qualifiers and everything, he's never gotten a red card. So because of that, he was going to get a suspended ban. And now these are a lot of criticisms and contributions, reactions, and all of that. In your thoughts, with the FIFA rules, do you think this is right?
I mean, it's a basic knowledge for anyone that watches football that if you get a straight red card, it's 3-match ban. You know, their recent ruling is quite appalling and very, very disgruntling for anyone that is watching football. I mean, we have a lot of people that are in that position where they've played a lot of games and unfortunately gets a red card in the in the span of games they've played in the qualifiers or wherever, but they still don't get this grace. So it's in the case of Ronaldo, it's a bit unusual. So it's left for the people that could potentially face Portugal to actually go to like you said, the Court of Arbitration for Sport to lay their claims that they could be in jeopardy of not making it if he plays. I mean, you're playing against a Ronaldo side, Ronaldo that had 5 goals in the qualifying stage of the World Cup. Then I went on to read that it was a part of the FIFA disciplinary pact. I think it was 27 that they have the power to actually partially or fully implement that ruling of suspending the player for 3 match or 2 match. They have the ruling. They have the power to actually go full or not. But I think this is the first time I'm hearing that kind of thing, and it's quite unusual. It will not give a good name to their image if they go on with that.
And now looking at this as well, what precedence does this set? Because, for instance, a player like Benzema, who's played over 900 career games, has never gotten a red card. And let's say he gets a red card and he serves the ban. Do you think it brings disparity in the decision?
It definitely will. That's the problem. It definitely will. You're talking about Benzema, what of the likes of Lionel Messi. These are people that have had very, very clean disciplinary record. So would you keep doing this to anyone that does not have? What if it was a life-threatening foul? What if it was a life-threatening foul? Would you just now exonerate him because he has not committed foul in previous time? Now we have this saying that 99 days for the thief, 1 day for the owner. So if he has been escaping 99 days, the one time he commits a foul, you now escape him, you now exonerate him because he didn't catch him other days. I don't think it doesn't make any sense. It's just going to set a bad precedence. And if the other countries that could potentially face Portugal, the likes of Scotland and Northern Ireland, if they play off, if they can make their case known and they turn it and it's turned over, that means it's just a bad, image they've painted for themselves.
Do you think for this particular decision, FIFA can get away with it? Because so many have said, okay, if this is a precedent, that means one day it's going to cause a big problem. Like I've given a player like Benzema as an example. There's so many other big players who've never gotten a red card.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, for every organization, every society, there are law guiding and binding them. If they have to go by the rules of the FIFA disciplinary regulations and all of that stuff, if they have to implement it, it's in their power to do so. But then again, like you said, it's going to set a bad precedent. We are going to see it happen afterwards. That's one thing about football. You won't stop now. So would you now have to enforce it every now and then when it happens? So it's left for them.
But we'll see how that pounds out. Away from that, Neymar Jr., he's someone that has faced a lot, especially with injuries in football, especially in the last 5-6 years. When it comes to injuries, he's become a bit synonymous with Neymar. And now he's defying the odds because about 4 days ago, it was announced that he suffered another injury and was not meant to play till 2025. Would you say this is a case of passion or is taking a risk because we know how the knee injury is in football?
I think it's a combination of both passion and risk. As you would have with most South American players, they have this passion and they will take any risk to actually fulfill this passion. And for anyone that have watched football for a long time, you're very, very familiar with Neymar. If it's one player that have been very unfortunate not to win the Ballon d'Or in the Messi and the Ronaldo era, is one of them amongst a lot of them, like Ibrahimovic and the rest. But it's just that it shows how frustrating it can be. After the interview, he said it's quite frustrating, but he feels good. But with the meniscus injury, which is to the knee, and you know how it can, anything that happens from the knee downwards is different. It's a different ballgame because the leg is carrying a load of the body, and if you keep pressuring it, if you keep doing all of those things, it can actually affect you. But then again, he feels like he can actually defy the odds and make it to the World Cup, make the cut for the World Cup squad for Brazil. As I listened to Ancelotti the other day and said that there's every chance that Neymar can make it. He probably would feeling like he can actually do it. And you saw yesterday night that he still has it in him. And the Brazilian Serie League is not an easy one. So let's not take it for granted. He didn't only score a goal, he provided an assist. And he will be feeling that he can actually give it one final shot to making it to the World Cup.
Well, like you rightfully said, the Brazilian Serie A it's the only league actually in football that has 12 big teams. We have teams like the Premier League, the Big Six, La Liga, the 3 teams there, and so on and so forth. But they have 12 big names. Teams like Fluminense, Santos, and all of Palmeiras and all of that. Now, you talked about Neymar being probably able to feature for Brazil in next year's World Cup. That's about 6 months or 7 months from now. And we know how it is with injury for him. But from what you saw with Neymar at the last World Cup and his contribution since then, do you think he's actually capable of making an impact or a difference in the team? I
think he's capable, but then again, it's not going to be a Neymar show again in the stand. It's not going to be a Neymar show again. You have this guy Esteval from Chelsea. You have Vinicius Junior. You have Rodrigo. You have the likes of the Richarlison. Whenever he's
in Brazil, the different
Richarlison. So it's not going to be a Neymar show again. But I think there's one thing they lacked last World Cup is that figurehead. Someone that is a figurehead, a light that they look up to. And Neymar is an inspiration, whichever way you want to paint it. I remember the World Cup, he had an injury where Brazil were topped 7-1 by Germany. After he was declared injured, I remember how the likes of David Luiz, the likes of this guy, I've forgotten his name, Oscar, how they felt so bad that period. So he has always been a model to these Brazilian players. Like you will see, Richarlison has a tattoo of him on his back. So it shows that these people actually look up to him. So he probably might not play much, but he might just be more of a player, coach, advisory role, come in when to see off a match, start match if they've played very well, if they scored quite if they've seen off their opponent to a very large extent, he comes off and all of that. So it can be managed, but I don't think it's going to be a Neymar show this time around.
Well, talking about not being a Neymar show this time around, I think we should move away from that and go to club football, more of club football. Now, we're looking at the Premier League. I know the Premier League, everyone is looking at Arsenal. Some may not be looking at Chelsea, but Chelsea are looking to be a different side from what they were last season. Talk to us about the Premier League season so far. It's match week 13 already. Arsenal at top of the table, 6 points clear of Chelsea, 7 points clear of Manchester City. Liverpool are going through their own.
As for Liverpool, yeah, this is where I have so much respect for Pep. For whatever criticism he faces, the fact is that for you to have a good team that won the league, you invest as much as 500 million, and you now get worse. It shows that the likes of Pep actually, they deserve some praise. But that being said, it is a very funny table in the sense that aside Arsenal, anyone that does not get in the act can actually drop far. Because I remember not long ago, Chelsea were below, they were not in the top four, they were not even in the top four at all. But just they've racked up some very, very good wins this November, and they now second position. For every statistics you see Arsenal, this month especially, for every stat you see Arsenal topping, Chelsea are just somewhere behind them. So they're not a bad side. They're actually very good. They are now better playing against the big boys. We saw with Barcelona, we saw with PSG, we saw with Liverpool and all of that stuff. So they are very decent side. As for Man City, they are good but not great. We can define, the great Man City side that had David Silva, had KDB and the wingers, all of that stuff. But now they are a very, very good side, but over reliant on Haaland, which can be very, very bad sometimes. You saw with Leverkusen, without Haaland, but he had to actually go to the bench.
Let me make 10 changes.
Can you imagine? I don't know if he downplayed the Leverkusen.
I think he did.
Yeah, but I don't think they are out of the Champions League ruling, but he probably would have learned a lesson from that. Then for Arsenal, it's just a case of being cautiously optimistic. Yeah. Because they've been there 3 times, and they've been second. So they will be very, very cautiously optimistic. But what I understand, what I see differently from Arsenal is a side that they've matured to some extent. Yeah, I want to believe they've matured. You can't keep repeating a class and not pass at some point. You can't keep coming second and not come first at some point. You understand? Yeah. The law of averages. So then again, the depth. It's not just in depth of quality, but also quantity and quality. You see Saka injured and Madueke is coming on to do his thing. You see Gabriel Mag is injured and Hincapi, and Invincible with Leverkusen, is doing his thing. I don't want to talk about Mosquera or Calafiori and the likes, but I think they just need to not get carried away. That's just the honest truth, because we've been there before. As all the ops will say, I'm a patient person. Let's see how it goes. But then again, hopefully it's their year.
Well, Chima, we have a lot to discuss on this, but we'll head for a quick break. Now, when we return, we'll go further into the discussion. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching Global Sports Reports here on Arise News. I'm continuing with our discussion. We have a lot. Chima, I'm still with Chima in the studio. Chima, we'll go back to Liverpool, right? I'll ask you, are Liverpool in a crisis? Because as it stands, it's more losses than victories for them. And we know that they had players leave. We know what happened to Diogo Jota in the summer. Luis Diaz left, Nunes left, and these were players who had heavy work rate. Just opposing them with the current forwards, would you say it's putting a lot of pressure on the midfield, the defenders, and causing mistakes?
Yes, I think at first, if they had lost the second game of the season or stuff like that, you say, okay, maybe it's just a blip, but it's about 9 to 10 games they've lost this season, and in the manner they are losing is not. It shows that they are in actual crisis after spending so much. You have a point that the players that have left probably would do the work, and you have someone, the king of Egypt, Salah, doing most of the output and all of that stuff. But most of these players are not there. I don't want to pin it on the death of Jota, but they lost the quality in that kind of player. Then you have the Nunes that it was not defensive all that striker. Yeah, but defensive striker. I remember last season against Brentford, they were looking for a goal. He came on and scored 2 goals. They've not had that fitness with Isak yet. So a lot of things is not going there. You have Weeds that are finding. So how do you play Weeds? he won't do those track back and all that stuff that you had Szoboszlai, Gravenberch and McAllister. Those three were the championship winning side for them last season. Then when it comes to defense, there were times where they looked for goals, but they also had, apart from the defensive part of his game, the creative outlet of Trent, they are also missing it. So these are parts of the game they are missing. And unfortunately, the guy they signed from Bournemouth, Kekes, I'm surprised, I'm astounded at how he has turned out. He has not been good for them so far. I'm not going to downplay the quality. Then you have Konate and Virgil van Dijk. They've been so poor this season. Konate, of recent, that was just yesterday, David Oyston of BBC reported that Madrid are no more looking to get him. So it shows how maybe they probably would have been watching closely. So there's a lot of things that Arne Slot needs to actually go to the drawing board and dissect and try to amend, because they are not the hire and fire kind of club. Yeah. It's been a long time. About 10 years ago they did that, and that was when they replaced this guy with Klopp. So they probably will stick around, because last season, I don't believe last season was a fluke, but the players he did it with last season and now they are different set of players.
You just made a point, like different set of players. And when Slot came in and won the league, a lot of people kept emphasizing how good a coach he is. Some have opined that the side he met, we had already established side from Klopp's arrangement, because he did not get a player. And this season, he was opportune to be given enough money to get his choice of players. And it seems the players he's gotten have not been able to gel fluidly into the team. Now, would you say that he was enjoying the platform or the structure he already met in the team?
I think it's an argument that is not far off. I think you can say he enjoyed that quality he had coming in. He only made the loan signing of Kiesa, and Kiesa didn't even play much, you understand? So he had that quality of a team that finished third. If you remember the season before Klopp left, they finished third. They were topping the table first of January, I remember vividly, but they ended up finishing third and they won the Carling Cup or thereabout. So the quality then is a team that have stayed together, a team that, they've played together for so many years. They've won the Champions League, they've won the Premier League. There's a level of maturity. And you had the Salah that had not signed the contract at that time. So a player that signed contract, a player before and after contract, they are not the same thing, as you remember with Aubameyang and Arsenal. So they are not the same thing. But coming now, like you said, he has invested a lot heavily on this player. I still feel like there would have been a wise investment allotted to the defense. You had Maguire lingering for a long time. It was up until the ending, the latter days of the transfer window they had to make a move, and Crystal Palace didn't have any replacement for him. So those are the things that I think that they could have actually managed or efficiently invested if they actually touched both the attacking and the defensive side of their squad. But that being said, I feel like he has a lot to do. These are two different teams, and also the headache of how do you play Florian Wirtz, because that is a quality player. I'm not going to take it away from him. He has so much quality, but how do you play him? If you notice, he has, at the beginning of the season, he was so persistent on playing him. At some point, it was not working. He has taken him out. He has played him as a winger. He has played the midfield trio that won him the league last season. So it's not still coming up. So I think he needs to just sit down and adjust this thing. He needs to.
You talked about Florian Wirtz. We liken the situation to that of Griezmann with Barcelona, because when Griezmann came into Barcelona, right, he plays a free role normally with Atletico Madrid, because he's gone back and we've seen his quality. He played the free role with Atletico, and Messi played the free role as well. Salah is a winger who plays the free role in Liverpool, and Florian Wirtz played the free role with Leverkusen. Would you say the fact that Salah is already there playing the free role could hinder Wirtz from doing what he knows how to do, because he can track back?
Yeah, he can't track back.
So would you say that's probably the same problem with Griezmann and Messi's case and Salah and Florian Wirtz's case?
I think, first of all, I like the fact you admit that there's quality. It's not a case of
obviously
there's quality.
But he always slays in Germany.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. It does very well in Germany, where I think they don't have Germany. They don't have that Salah winger. They don't have any. They don't have so much of talent in their attacking forward, except maybe this Walter Made guy in the stand. But like you said, in Leverkusen, he was the one calling the shots. Everything went through him in Leverkusen. You had strikers and wingers running off him.
Fullbacks.
Yeah, fullbacks, ping-pong running off him, and there's always a layoff. But it's a different game with Liverpool. Like you said, Salah also drifts in sometimes to call the shots, which would also leave him hindered. He can't track back, as you mentioned. So it's a difficult thing. But then again, I still feel it's a case of the manager. Maybe it's him being this is the first time in the Premier League. He probably would have a case of adaptation to do. But the signs are not funny as it stands now. I don't know how long it will take. I don't know if they have to go down the table before he comes. They're
already down. They're 12th.
They are so down the table. But I feel like you're not far from the truth. The position in which he plays is a free role, but now he has to make do with Salah, and he can't do, like you mentioned, he can't do the work rate of the other guys that were there. Salah will not run back for you. As he mentioned last summer, the coach has told him not to go back and do some of the work. He is to finish the stuff. And then again, without Salah, who do you call on? You had Ekitike doing the work for you. His name is so funny. You had Ekitike doing the work for you, but you just know that you invested heavily on Isak, so Isak has to play. So both the confidence of Isak and Ekitike is nowhere to be found. You just have to rely on Salah, and Salah now is not firing, so it's so bad for them. Well,
we'll see what happens in the Premier League. Well, it's a big Premier League weekend because tomorrow Arsenal and Chelsea will face off and see how it goes. But I'll ask you about the Spanish La Liga. The Spanish La Liga currently, so many would say, oh, the competition is not much, so it's Barcelona, Real Madrid. And as it stands, Barcelona and Real Madrid just 1 point separate both teams. So far in the La Liga season, how would you rate the football? Is there a difference? Is there a team that has captured your fancy?
I think Villarreal are doing very well. So
with that Arsenal guy, the former Arsenal guy?
Partey.
No, Pepe.
They are doing very well. Funny enough, Villarreal, they are doing very well. But I think it's the usual stuff you have. You have Barca, Madrid doing their thing. You have the
once in a while, Atletico Madrid.
As good. I forgot to mention Atletico Madrid. You have their president also firing jabs. The other day, Laporta came on to say that Madrid benefited from the VAR. They should have been on top of the league by now.
When it was 2-2.
Yeah, when it was 2-2, So I think it's just that, it has not been firing as you would expect. Barca have had their own fair shares of injuries. Then you have Madrid also. It has been this news about Vinicius Jr. and having issues with Xabi Alonso has really enveloped how they are playing. It's been a one-man show so far with Mbappe scoring, I think 9 to 10 goals for them. 13 goals for them with 3 assists. So I think it's just been there. But the Villarreal has been the one to watch out for. I think they are 3 to 2 points behind Barca. So if they win their next match, they catch up. But I believe Barca will get their 3 points.
Against Alaves.
Alaves. Barca should also be watchful of Atletico. They get to play Atletico next, who you can't deny their hot form since they lost to Arsenal.
Well, one final question on this. About the Chelsea-Barcelona game and people's talks about Lamine Yamal. Maybe some call him, some say he has the best PRO in football currently. Some say his PR is justified because he does the talking on the pitch. But on Tuesday, it was a Kukurea show against Lamine Yamal. But moving forward, looking at the quality of the player, you've seen him in different games, different tournaments. Would you say his PR is very high?
As you would have with so many star boys, coming up through the ranks, it just depends. I don't think it's a PR thing. You can say there was a time Saka had this so much audience. You have Kopama, now you have this guy from Como, Nico Paz. Lamine also. You can't take away the limelight from him. For someone that finished second in the Ballon d'Or ranking. So I don't think it's a PR thing. But then again, we should not take away the quality from Kukurea.
Yes.
That is the thing. He
He's
has
a mature player.
Yeah, he has locked up a lot of wingers, you know. He has locked up a lot of wingers. So I think people are trying to downplay the quality of Kukurea to say that's why he played bad. No, I don't think that's why he played bad. It's just that he met a very good and their teammates in the national team. So he probably knows that he was coming up against a very great side, and I'm sure he'll be feeling bad that he lost the battle. But then again, you have seen this Chelsea side against Bayern. Not Bayern, you saw them against PSG. He locked up, what's the guy? Said Dewey. You know, you saw him against, you have seen him against which club did play a game. So Chelsea, they're not doing badly.
Yeah.
They're not doing badly. So he just met a very, very well organized side. They have not conceded in the last 3 matches. Yes, they've not conceded. Let's not forget that. So I don't think it's a PR case. He just lost the battle on the day.
Well, thank you so much, Chima, for your time on the show today.